What's made you live at the Daintree now, near the Daintree?
Well, I travel past on my boat to drop loads of fish off back to Cairns if I needed fishing gear and whatever. I couldn't buy that in Bloomfield or Cooktown, so I used to. I did the trip I probably did 100 trips past the Daintree by boat, and every time I'd look at these beautiful mountains up the back, like Thornton Peak and all Mount Sorrow and all those, just the same as what Captain Cook seen in those early days, and it was always so lush and green compared to Cooktown and Townsville and everywhere else, that I promised myself I'd live there one day. And then I had the opportunity with John Morris from Port Douglas when Christopher Skase was setting up all that development in Port Douglas. I had the chance of swapping the little boat for this 3 acres of land that I'm living on. So we just made a clean swap. And I built that little boat, started from an old hull that an 80-year-old had given up on, and rebuilt it and put it in the water, and went to live on it and turned into a commercial fisherman for 9.5 years all up in those years. Just as we got past the ferry coming upstream on the boat, I hit a log that was under the water, and I hit it hard enough to spring the garboard planks off the stem, and she was actually sinking. I had the pumps going and everything, and we went upstream and kept going and couldn't find any beach to put the boat onto until we got almost to Daintree Township, and there's one last bend there, and then there's a bit of a long straight, and then the township is right on that end of the straight. But just before that last bend, there's a lovely little beach, and it's part of a cattle farm where the cattle come down to come and drink out of the river every night and whatever else. And what ended up happening was that on the third night, a croc. You know, I'd been swimming under the boat to get logs under it to keep the keel off the sand and whatever. So I'd been in the water, in and out, and cooling myself off in the heat of the day and whatever. And yeah, on the third night, the lead bull came down, and a croc came out and just missed him. And of course the cattle all burst out. You know, I sat on top of the freezer box for the rest of the night until I went to bed, so frightened that this big croc could even jump onto the boat to grab me, but well, the boat was high and dry, so they couldn't. But that was a close call, and he must have been observing me all that time for 3 days and nights.